I just got through driving Betsy to the beach and back. Boy, look at how dirty she is. Woo! 200 miles. No squeaks in the front end yet. So that's, oh gosh, that's 270 miles so far on the suspension with no squeaks. So those joints seem to be working pretty good. You can see here in this shot that I put these little rubber boots around the joints and put them on with a zip tie. It's just slit. It's a small motorcycle inner tube, and I slit it so that it would cover up the joint, and it's long enough to butt up against the back of the shock tower. So the idea is that it'll keep the bulk of the water and the grime and everything off of the joint. Maybe that'll help make them last longer. I don't know, but it's worth the experiment. And basically, it's just a old used up motorcycle inner tube. So there you have it. Good Betsy news. Boy, haven't had much of that lately. Oh, it just ran and drove great. Oh man. Hi, welcome to Don's Manufactory. Well, I'm in my super grubbies here today. Well, not this coat anyway. It was a little chilly out here in the garage this morning, but now I've got it up to a whopping 60 degrees. Okay, so what am I up to today? Well, I have completed the break-in period for the differential, so today I will be pulling the third member out. Cleaning all the whatever break-in metal is in the oil. It'll be interesting to see just how much metal there is, considering how much noise this differential has been making. Speaking of noise, when I left it with the setup that Speedway did, and for warranty purposes or whatever. But at this point, after break-in, it hasn't gotten quiet. So that means the setup isn't correct. So I need to take a look at the gear pattern and see. In my opinion, I think that the no pun intended there, by the way. I think the ring gear is in a little too tight. So maybe only a thousandths or two. If you look at the gear pattern here in this picture, you'll see that sharp edge at the bottom. Now the wear pattern is supposed to be a nice fuzzy little oval, especially on brand new gears. But this has a sharp edge where the tip of the pinion is down against the bottom of the gear in the ring gear. But it hasn't worn in and gotten quiet. I'm sitting here staring at this third member down here on the floor. This is the one that I set up previously where the actual case was bad. But I'm looking at that saying, I should make myself a wrench for tightening those bearing support end play or preload adjustments, whatever you call those dang little collars. Anyway, they have this series of holes in them. I think I'll just make myself a little wrench. It has a couple of pins that will engage that, and then I can use it on this one too. Make adjusting that backlash easier. Anyway, I guess I'll take you guys along for the ride. I'll do it in time lapse so you can watch the whole darn thing. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see because there's just not a lot of room when I'm rolling around underneath the car. I just changed the oil on the car. I got a new Dorman type of pan plug you can see right here. A few years ago I put this type of a Dorman plug on there with the nylon washer. This is what it looks like now. It gets deformed a little bit and then it starts dripping. And it doesn't matter how tight you tighten this, you'll tighten it to the point where you strip the threads and it'll still leak. That being said, hey, look! I almost cleaned my bench. No, I didn't clean it totally, but I did give myself a clean spot here so I can work on the differential. That's good enough, right? I only have to clean the one little spot I'm using. No? Well, I know it's not officially clean, but that's as much as cleanup work I want to do today, because I want to get to work and get this done, knock this out as fast as I can. And to that end, let's get at it. Yeah, I don't know. I look so dorky using the jack. You can just see me pumping away on the handle. Oh, man. Really doesn't take that long to do this, but I have to take the back end of the car up in 2 steps. I jack the back up, put it on the stands on the first notch there, and then I go around the front, jack the front up, put it as high as it'll possibly go, and then I go in the back again. I have to use a block under the differential to get the car up even higher, trying to make more room for myself underneath the car. This was rather disappointing. I had replaced all of these retainers or bolts, T-bolts for the brakes, and they all galled when I took them off. Okay, we'll knock out the other side, same as this side. Here you can see, differential looks bone dry. And this is one of those rubberized, oil stays in gasket, whatever they call the dang thing. Let's get this thing out. I'm gonna need 1/2-inch wrench, 9/16 wrench, socket, electric ratchet, masking tape for the U-joint. Okay, that's probably enough. Okay, here we go, tearing it apart. Although, yeah, I did forget one thing. I had to go up there and knock it into neutral so I could spin the driveline around and get the bolts out of the other side. The driveline's pretty tight there, so it takes a little effort to get it out from between the exhaust pipes. You notice me spinning the yoke a little bit, and I was going, well, I wonder how much the drag it has, how the preload worked out on that rear end after it broke in. And it felt pretty good. To get all those little washers off of there, because they kind of lock into the threads. Had to go get a screwdriver to get the last 2 off. And then, there goes the oil. Now you'll notice I spin the yoke backwards in reverse so that it spins the oil out through the crack there, and that way it's not just sitting there leaking and dripping and being a mess the whole time. It just, makes it a cleaner job. It only really took maybe 30 minutes to disassemble this whole thing. Oh yeah, look at the metal in the oil. Here is the oil out of the lube out of the rear end. And as you can see, that is a lot of metal. Got some darkness in there too from not only the metal but the clutch plates on the posi. Well, after seeing the metal that was in the transmission lube, I guess this doesn't surprise me. If you look here, you can see that the pressure, the wear pattern, is out towards the heel. It should be up in the center of the gear, but this is on the back side. It makes noise with power on and, well, during power and deacceleration or coast. Makes noise both ways, but it is quiet if you can get it completely unloaded. So at least the bearings are good. Okay, so you can see that it's not touching up here at the head of the gear, but it is zinging off the back of the gear right there. So there's pressure at the back. In the meantime, well, actually before I do make any changes, I'm going to do a smear here. Okay, I'm not putting a lot of drag on there, but you can see the same sort of problem where the tip of the pinion gear is sort of digging into the tooth there. That's what's creating that straight line. And you know, it's supposed to be a nice little oval pattern. The top is oval, but the bottom is straight, and that normally would tell me that I'm in just a hair too deep. Okay, let's go the other way now and see what the back tells us. Well, it's still showing me, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just turn you around here a little bit. See, you can see that it's towards the outside. And that's where the pressure is. Typically what happens is under load, the pattern will move towards the outside. Although I've been driving pretty easy. I just feel like I should change this pattern just a bit. The other thing is the gears have not completely polished off. Now, you know, I can always put it back where it is if I decide I don't like it and I need to change it. So this pinion is in too deep. So it needs to come back, and then the backlash needs to change. I'm pretty sure.
So here I'm just miking up the shims so that I know what they are.
Well, inspecting this gear really close, and one thing I noticed, it seems to have a burr on some of the teeth up here where it doesn't have any wear on it. And so I was looking at the pattern, and I'll try to get you guys up close. Maybe I'll have to take a picture of it with my, oh yeah, see right there? You can see the burr, part of that burr is still remaining, and it's got some little shiny spots there. Well, that for sure is going to cause a noise. So I'm thinking I need to dress this very top edge of the gear. I need to dress that burr off of that. I've been messing with it, and see, it looks like it's the pinion is out too far on the back of the tooth because the wear pattern is closer to the top of the tooth. But on the front side, the power side, it's looks just about right. You know, it still actually kind of looks like it's too deep. But, you know, I can't have the best. It can't be good on both, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to leave the front looking the best because that's the one it spends the most time on. And I might have just a tad bit of noise coming out of the deacceleration. Not sure. So specs at this point, I have a 27 thousandths shim in. It's actually 2 shims. And a backlash of 9 thousandths gives me that pattern. So if I understand it correctly, backlash will move the pattern this way on the tooth, and pinion depth moves it up and down the tooth face. So it was in too deep. I knew that when I bought the thing, but I left it that way. But now, of course, it's got miles on it, so the pattern looks a little funny because there's already wear on the face, but now it's going to have to wear in a new spot. And anyway, we'll see how much noise it makes and go from there.
Okay, clean up the housing again, get all the metal and whatnot out of it, and wipe it all out. Yeah, And then put the gasket on there. Yep, it only goes one way. Flip it around until it just falls on. You know, in the old days, I used to just pick these things up and chuck them in. But not anymore. Yeah, this works pretty good. It's a little tight under there, but it goes in pretty easily. As long as I don't tear the gasket, I'm good. And this gasket is made of aluminum with the rubberized sealer and stuff on it, so it holds up pretty well. Now, just the tedious process of getting all the little copper washers on there. And yeah, I'm using copper washers all the way around. I just think it works better. More oil tight in case one of those studs isn't sealed all the way to the case. Snug it up with the electric ratchet and then torque it in place. I was having a little problem with getting the socket on the bolts up on the top there, and I was reminding myself, you know, the next time you have this out, which turned out to be the very next day, take the die grinder and relieve the case around those bolts a little bit at the top there so that I can get the socket on there easier. Up goes the drive line. It's all pretty easy. You know, when you get the back end of the car up high enough, no oil comes out of the transmission, so it's pretty easy just to rip it out of there and then put it back in. You don't lose any of the lube out of the transmission or anything.
Cool. I gotta just slide the axles back in, tighten those up, and brakes and wheels, and put some oil in it, and it'll be ready to rock, huh?
You know, I bought that Valvoline oil that comes in a little flexible pack, and I thought maybe I could just take that and squeeze it in. But no, it's just untenable. This method of putting it in the bottle and squeezing the bottle is just better. Works better in a closed space. You know, I don't spill any, so it's the way to go, if you ask me. Another thing you'll see me doing here is rotating the drive line to circulate the oil as I'm topping it up. I'm trying to make sure that it's completely full. I don't know if you can notice there, but yeah, the axles and drums and everything are back on. Well, you're probably wondering what the end result was of all of that. It made noise, so I took it apart the next day and tried another setup, and it still made noise. So that's where it sits right now. We've got a week of snow and ice coming, so I won't be driving it for a week. But I can change, by going in and making changes in the setup, I can change where it makes noise, but I can't change the frequency of the noise. That high-speed howl, woo, it was doing at freeway speed. That howl is always there. It just is at a different speed with a different setup. Same with the low-speed one. I can make the low-speed noise quieter or to be louder at a different speed at 40 or 35 and that kind of stuff when I change the setting. But all in all, it just tells me that the gears still aren't meshing correctly. I think I'll probably take it apart again and take another shot at it. In the meantime, I have my old 3.0 gears, which are perfectly quiet and everything. But that's a good case, and I'm thinking maybe I should try taking these 3.5 gears that were running in the bad case and see if I can get them set up in my 3.0 case. that might give me a gear set that's completely quiet. I don't know. When I had him going over to my brother's house, when I had it set up for that, it made just a little bit of noise right at 40 miles an hour, but it was quiet at freeway speeds and all of that. So I'm going to keep plugging away at it. I obviously don't know what the hell I'm doing. Maybe I've just lost my touch. I'm just going to buy a unit that's brand new, that's all put together by the experts, and everything will be fine. Oh gosh, if it were only true. So that would make 3 runnings, the original running and 2 of my setups, and it's all noisy. I can just make it change a little bit, but I can't get rid of the noise. And I'm assuming that if it's making noise, it's putting metal into the oil. I'm liable to just do any darn thing. I think maybe I am going to try to set up those 3.5s in my 3.0 case over here. Try them out. Maybe I'll give the True Track another shot to see if it works. Talking to Eaton about that, with metal in the oil, yeah, the True Track is going to act up. In fact, it's a little sensitive to that. Okay, so the fact that there was metal in the oil was why the True Track wasn't working, so maybe I can make that whole thing work? I mean, I'm not having much success with this setup, so I might as well try something. I'll tell you one thing, though. The posi traction unit in this Speedway, I really like that. It's a really good posi traction unit. It doesn't have any play in it. Of course, you know, the spider gears and everything are all brand new and really tight, so there's no clunk setting of the gears. It doesn't make any chatter noise. I don't know what else to say. I guess that's it. So thanks for watching Don's Manufactory, and I'll try to get to the bottom of all of this. Stay tuned. Catch you later. Yeah, and then I gave Betsy a bath.